Hello everyone, welcome back to FullGrownGaming's Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts. Now if I can get off the top, a little ledge there, I can actually come over here to this little hidden ledge and get what I believe is actually a Mega Potion. Yes sir, and the reason I, thought it was going to be a Mega Potion is one, because I knew, and two, because also, usually, anytime you have to go off the beaten path for a treasure chest, it seems like, more often than not, it's going to be a Mega Potion. How many times has that happened already? Like 2 or 3 times? But speaking of treasure, we're going to actually be getting, I believe, another Mega Potion? Oh, a Mega Ether. It's kind of close. Over here we have the treetops, which we're not going to be going into right now, but before the end of this level, we'll definitely have to go in there. We're going to start off by jumping into the little stump on the ground there. This whole situation is kind of weird, because this is what I believe is supposed to be a minigame, but it's not really a minigame that I ever really found too enjoyable. If only because not only do you have to slide down this thing, you have to dodge these. And I can never ever get through this thing without, getting hit by those things. It looks like I might actually do it here. But I believe we actually have to come back to this area later on in the game. I think after we beat the Deep Forest, or Deep Jungle, we can come back and do that part as what it was supposed to be, an actual minigame. And I'm not sure exactly what you get for doing that, but I'm sure we have to come back and do it anyway. So I believe when we go in the tent, there's going to be a cutscene that actually might be a little bit important.
Jane.
Tarzan. Oh, and who's this?
Hi there.
Oh, you speak English. So then, obviously you're not related to Tarzan. Are you here to study the gorillas?
Highly doubtful.
Sorrel! Goofy! Donald!
A circus of clowns. Not much use for hunting gorillas.
Mr. Clayton, we're studying them, not hunting them. This is research. Well, the more the merrier. Do make yourselves at home.
Well, anyway, I'm staying. Huh?
Sorrel, look what we found. Look at this.
The way Goofy, by the way, I'm not going to read this. This is just, an explanation of what that is. The way Goofy said, "Look at this," the accent that he uses, his Goofy speak, is hilarious, and it really makes me wish I had a good Goofy voice. But we actually got a piece of a gummy ship there that we will probably be putting into effect later on in the game. Not quite yet right now. But now that we have more than 2 party members, we actually can switch between. We have a choice now. But I'm actually going to go with Classic Donald and Goofy for one particularly important reason, and that is because you cannot do Trinities without both of them in your party. So if we went with Tarzan, even though he might be a little bit stronger than Donald, we wouldn't be able to do Trinities, and since I'm going for all the Trinities, that might be kind of important to be able to do them. But speaking of Trinities, there's one right here, right outside the door, and I think this is actually one that gives you Dalmatians yet again. So they really went hard with the Dalmatian Blue Trinity Association. It seems like, if I remember correctly, the other colors don't give you those as often, but I could be wrong about that. Now, we are, as she was saying, we are researching the gorillas, not hunting them. Speaking of research, we are right in the middle of what looks to be like a scientific, outpost out here in the jungle. And speaking of science, we can actually come over here and investigate. Well, actually, I don't know what that has to do with science, but we can investigate that pot, which tells us to go find 2 recipe cards. I think there's one right here. Yep, a recipe card for telling us to put a potion in the thing quickly. And then over here, I think in the grandfather clock, yep, recipe card 1. So I think that is all the recipe cards. Now over here, I think we can get a research note, which is a recipe for an ether, which I'll get to in a second. Over here is research note number 3. And whoa, that was weird. What in the world? I have never noticed that before. I can't believe I've never seen that. Man, get off. Sora has been climbing on everything in this episode. Over here in the globe, there's actually research note number 2. Now, those are actually 2 different things. One, the recipe cards were for this over here, and since we got both of them, we can actually begin the experiment. And we put the potion in the pot. I think you have to open the thing, and then use a fire, spell on it, which somehow, I'm not really sure how this works, it gives us a high potion. So in the world of Kingdom Hearts, apparently to make a high potion, all you have to do is set a potion on fire. But those research cards help us with this little chemistry set over here. If we investigate, it already says we found the required note, so that's kind of cool. But what this one does is you put a potion into it, and you have to put it on ice. So clearly that means you have to use Blizzard on it. And, oh yeah, conducting, okay, what I was going to say was, that told us, if I should have investigated that before, it said something to the effect of find the 2 research cards. But there are actually 3, so I always wondered what that did. What that just said was, because we found the 3rd research card, it gave us 2 ethers instead of just 1. So if you guys want 2 ethers out of 1 potion, that is probably the way to go. Now, in addition to all those other cards, we have to find 6 slides. Luckily, there are, you know, there's 6, and they are all pretty much in a line, except for those 2. But once we get this one right here, we're pretty much set. They put them all right next to each other, which I guess is kind of cool. You know, you don't actually really have to search in detail for these things, so I kind of like that. But I do wish maybe we could have, I mean, the thing is, I'm not sure if you have to get these to progress in the game or not, if you have to get all of them. I think you might. And I was going to say, I wish they had hidden them like the research cards, but then if you have to find them to beat the game, it would have made it a little too hard, I think. But now that we found those, I believe I was going to say there might be a cutscene, but I don't think so. So we can talk to Jane here. Apparently Tarzan was raised in the jungle by the gorillas. Communicating with him still isn't easy, but he's learning. So he was speaking in gorilla back there. Ah, that's right, you're looking for your What does that have to do with what I just said? He said, okay, I was gonna say, where is this all coming from? He said Riku and Kairi are here, and one word I couldn't understand. Why don't we try this? We'll show Tarzan some slides and see if any of them match that word. Oh, what happened to the slides? I have them right here with me. So apparently we have to actually investigate this, whatever this is. I feel kind of, you know, young not knowing what that is. If any of you guys know what that's supposed to be, I'd be kind of interested. But what in the world is that? What's wrong, Sora? Nothing. So, yeah, this place just looks so familiar, but how? I've never been off my island. Maybe we'll see that later on. And what this slide looks like, maybe a guy giving some, you know, a lady some flowers, a grandmother carrying what looks to be a little girl, a huge gorilla, a sail ship. I'm not sure what all these have to do with each other, and what looks to be like some sort of sword fight.
Well, Tarzan?
Where are my friends, Riku and Kairi? Hey, I thought...
That leaves just one place. Young man, we've been in this jungle for some time now. But we have yet to encounter these friends of yours. I'd wager they're with the gorillas, but Tarzan refuses to take us to them.
Really, Mr. Clayton? Tarzan wouldn't hide...
Then take us there. Take us to the gorillas. Gorillas.
Tarzan, are you sure?
Tarzan, go see Kerchak.
Kerchak?
He must be the leader. Perfect. I'll go along as an escort. After all, the jungle is a dangerous place.
Alright guys, there are a couple of things as I say here. Let me just talk about that cutscene a little bit. First of all, I don't like Clayton at all. And if you guys saw that smile at the end of that cutscene, that was really creepy. But also, he said something like, oh, we've been searching the forest for a while, and apparently we're getting into another fight with this jaguar. I believe it's a jaguar. I completely forgot to look up what it actually is. But yeah, he said they've been searching the forest for a while. But how does that at all implicate or, you know, imply the fact that Riku and Kairi aren't here? They probably aren't, but why should that matter, like, as far as how long they've been here? Because that, you know, not dream sequence, but that sequence on Destiny Islands, it was only, how long ago do you guys think that was? Maybe 2-3 days in game time, I'm not really sure. But that would mean, like, the fact that they got here so recently shouldn't, the fact that they have been here shouldn't negate the fact that they just got here. If you guys know what I'm trying to say, it just doesn't really make sense. But over here we have, like, a little tiny mini game, not really sure if you could call it that, because I don't even know if you can fail it. You probably can. But what it does, basically, is you can slide, or swing on these vines. And it kind of reminds me of, I thought I just jumped off into the abyss there, but it kind of reminds me of, what was that one game for the Atari? Oh my goodness, how am I going to forget this? pitfall, kind of like that for some reason. Are you kidding me? Can we please slide over there? Over there, it's not even all that important. There's a mithril, I believe, in here. But the thing is, with this part of the game, I always forget some sort of treasure, and I always regret not being able to remember where all the treasure is, because it's not all that hard. But what I like to do is just jump off right there, because that puts us back into the Hippo Lagoon, which is this, you know, what the name of this area is, and there is actually a pretty substantial amount of treasure here as well. And the first one that we're going to go for is up here. It's actually pretty easy. I'm not sure what it is, though. Let's take a guess. Mega Potion? This is ridiculous, alright, guys? Every time I guess what a treasure chest is going to be from now on, it's going to be Mega Potion. But we got that. Now, this jump right here, that wasn't even the hard jump and I failed, so I don't really feel too good about my prospects coming up. Let's see if I can make this one right here. There we go. Now, this jump... Oh, that one's easy, too. This jump from here to that one right there, I can never, ever get. So let's see if I can get it. Oh, come on. There we go. And guys, I don't know if I've mentioned this. If you swing your sword at the end of a jump, are you kidding me? Anyway, if you guys swing your sword at the end of a jump, usually you get just a tiny bit of extra height that could help as far as getting to, you know, a faraway ledge or whatever. There we go. Now let's see if I can actually make this jump this time. Oh, there. That jump right there isn't even the one that's supposed to be hard, but we got the Asuna G out of that, which anything, as we've seen, that has a G on the end of its name is probably a gummy ship piece. And one thing that I really like about this game is that in this treasure chest, there are Dalmatians, and I know that because that was the only reason I even knew that there were Dalmatians in the game, because that one is actually put right in the middle of the path that you have to go to beat the game. So that is the way the game is telling you that there are Dalmatians in the game.
Kerchak, please listen to me. I know the nesting grounds are secret, but I trust them. You see, I want to help them because, well, they need us.
Oh, did you get that?
No! Kerchak! Kerchak.
He seems sort of distracted by something. Was he looking towards the treehouse? Probably, because that is probably the way the game is telling us to go to the treehouse at this point. But before we do that, we can actually get to the treehouse by going on that vine right there. By the way, what I was going to say was, before we do that, I have one piece of treasure left to get in this area. But what I was going to say after that was, this area, this whole level, I like it a lot, but it seems like it was one that I always got lost in. I'm not sure if I'm alone on that or not, but as far as, you know, my experience playing the game, I didn't really get lost all that often, but when I did, I feel like I'm doing that meme. It was in that, you know, in this area, in this level, and it was mainly at this point in the game. I didn't know how to get back to the treehouse, so I was like, well, where do I go? I kind of had to stop playing the game for a while, because I guess I didn't see this area right here. But we can actually climb up, you know, these vines right here, and that takes us up into the climbing trees area. I'm not really sure why it's called that. That doesn't really make too much sense. But these flowers right here will actually play a tiny role later in the game. And what was that? Oh, that's another flower. I was going to say, I'm not sure what that was. I didn't even know I could lock onto that. But before we go in that hole right there, we can actually do a trinity here. Which this trinity, I believe, gives us even more Dalmatians. It seems like there are... I know there are 99 Dalmatians that we have to find, but it seems like... I don't know if I like the fact that every time we find treasure, it is Dalmatians. But at least we do get a substantial reward for finding all of them.
What's the big idea?
Wait, Kerchak, please!
You don't understand. I was only trying to. Ah, a snake slithered by. You see, I saved that poor gorilla's life.
Now, at this point in the game, playing it for the first time, I was like, Clayton, come on. You really think we're going to believe that story? But I should not get ahead of myself here. We can actually jump up on top of this, staircase, which doesn't look like we could. But if you do just try to jump, you're probably not going to make it. I don't even think you can. But once you get to that very tip of the jump, you can actually swing your sword and land up here. So this treasure actually is one of my favorite things to find in the entire game, even though I already know where it is. If only for the fact that what we get up here is actually pretty useful. It's not like, some Dalmatians or something like that. It's actually it's hard to find, but what we get is actually pretty useful. And if I remember correctly, I think it is called a Protera chain. And if you guys remember, back in, not Traverse Town, in Destiny Islands, we found a Protect chain. So it's kind of like the upgraded version of that. But look how far up we are, guys. This is pretty much, I didn't ever realize this, but it is kind of like the top of the entire level. But like I said, I believe this is going to be a Protera chain. Yes, memory still serves, pretty well. Now, we need to get back to the campsite, I believe. But we can't really... we could go the way that we got there originally, but we can also jump off way over here. This is actually, my favorite way of getting back to the campsite, just because you don't have to do that dumb sliding minigame again. But what it does is actually drop you in this area here. I don't know if this fight right here with Saber, I forgot what his name was for a second, is actually mandatory or not, but the thing is, it's not all that hard, and you do get a pretty substantial amount of XP for it. And like I said, we were actually pretty close to the campsite. I can't believe, I'm not sure why they decided to make this enemy so... I'm not sure why they made it so you have to fight him so many times, and I'm not sure, that was a really weird accent, ghetto accent that I pulled right there, but I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier or not, but I didn't look up what type of cat that is, so if you guys know, I would be kind of interested in knowing. Anyway, after we defeated him, it made it pretty easy to climb up that thing right there without being disturbed, and also, like I've mentioned before, you can't open treasure chests unless you've actually, defeated all the enemies. But up here, I believe this is a Mega Potion. Yeah, everything is a Mega Potion in this game, and I believe, is this going to be a Mithril or Mithril Shard? Awesome. I can't believe they give you so many Mithril Shards all the time, but I guess it will be kind of useful later on when we get into Synthesis. So I'm going to actually go ahead and end the episode here, because I believe we're about halfway through the level here, and I don't want to, make the episodes way too long or anything. But I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Play Kingdom Hearts, and in the next episode, hopefully we can take down Clayton.